Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join his mission.
So one of the origin stories of orphanages would be the UK workhouse system. So children being forced to earn a living by, an early form of sweatshop that you might see in this part of the world. Actually.
Correct, yeah.
And along comes George Muller, the kind of father of faith missions,
Yes.
and he innovates on that. And he says, you know what, we shouldn't make kids work in a workhouse, we should care for them in an orphanage. And he runs this orphanage in Bristol with maybe 3,000 children. And
At what time are you talking about? What timeline?
yeah,
This is
I should
being
remember. I think 200 years ago. It's
Okay,
the beginning of
19th
like,
century?
Yeah, it's the time of Hudson Taylor.
Okay,
and
the
those
20th
kind of
century then, yeah.
missionaries,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So think for a minute, Bristol,
Yes.
around that time.
Yeah.
Why are there 3,000 children in an orphanage?
I was going to say that.
What's the chance that all those children's parents have been killed in a plague or a genocide? Really, really slim.
Yes, that's a
What's the
huge
chances that
percentage.
those children's, even if it was true that their parents are dead, what's the chances that all their aunties and uncles and grandparents are dead too? Almost zero.
Slight, yes.
Almost zero. So why are they in an orphanage?
Okay.
So one reading is middle class, well-to-do Christians looked at the poverty and looked at difficult family situations and thought they could better parent children in an institution than their parents. Didn't trust the poor, didn't trust the parents.
So they took those children by force?
No, I mean...
Or it was an option
It could be.
that was encouraged,
I'm
perhaps?
shaky on
Yes,
that,
yes.
right? I know what happens nowadays, and it's rarely by force. It's a magnetic effect. Once you start setting up an orphanage, people who are on the edge of poverty relinquish their children because their kids are going to get fed and clothed and educated, and that's great. People are making a choice. Back then, I think it wasn't quite as easy as that. I think the other motivation, and again, it's a well-meaning motivation, is that we wanted to evangelize these children. And it's a lot easier to evangelize children that you have control over 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you can rotor in Bible study and preaching and all that kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of really interesting ideas. Some may put a class structure on this, that the middle classes thought they could do life better than the poor. Now, once you've had that experience, and again, it's really complicated because George Muller was one of my childhood heroes, and he was a man of his time, and
Yes.
it's easy to kind of criticize from a distance. And
in retrospect.
right? And yet, he reads his Bible. It's hard not to see family as an important concept
Correct.
in Scripture.
Yes.
So, how come there was that disconnect? Again, we read from somewhere. We are not empty vessels. I'm preloaded with my cultural assumptions and I bring those to Scripture, and how I treat my family might be different to how I treat the poor's family.
Through your experience, through your
Prejudice, bias,
correct
education,
cultural surroundings.
blind spots.
Yes.
So there's all of that going on.
Yes.
And then, the amazing thing is, I'm getting my head around this too. So he's the father of the faith missions movement because he never asked for money. And so somehow God miraculously provided. But then I'm stuck, right? God is miraculously providing to keep children separated from their families. That feels an odd paradox to me.
It does.
Okay, anyway, I'm still processing. So then we go, okay, now we're going to be involved in cross-cultural mission, and we take the gospel to the corners of the world, including Africa. And in Africa, they come across children in poverty and difficulty. Somehow, they didn't see in those days it was normal. Remember this expression, it takes a whole village to raise a child? Where did that come from? That'd be an African proverb.
It sounds like it to me.
So, and African family structures would mean that if your parents died, your auntie or uncle or grandparents would take you in. So why did we set up orphanages, institutionally care for children for many centuries?
I see what you're saying, how it definitely seems like a Western paradigm implemented or planted in what African soil or Asian soil or other.
And now here it is.
Okay. Yeah.
And, it's been going on and it's become owned by the culture. So we know, for example, friends of mine from Ghana, it's not unusual that a Ghanaian politician would hold his birthday party or her birthday party in an orphanage, a little bit like a presidential candidate might volunteer in a soup run and feed people. You know how it works? It's
So
an
you're
act of
saying
benevolence.
yes, which gains more followers or voters or whatever the case may be.
So it's been embraced.
Uh-huh.
And now some of that wider family structure isn't in place anymore because we intervened. And you see how a well-meaning intention can actually lead to some negative consequences?
Absolutely.
So according to the best surveys we found by groups like UNICEF and Save the Children, globally, figures are ropey, right? Somewhere between 2 and 8 million. One study recently is saying 5.6 million children in orphanages around the world.
How could there be such a discrepancy? I'm sorry to pause you there. You just said 2 to 8. There's 6 million discrepancy.
I know.
How do we not know?
So some of the challenges, so in a place like, Russia or Ukraine, the government runs all the orphanages.
The numbers don't come as easily.
No, they know the numbers better. Because
I
the government is in charge of the
Okay,
orphanage. But
all
in
right.
somewhere like Uganda
Yes.
or Cambodia, it's entrepreneurial, missionaries sometimes,
Okay.
Christian philanthropists
Yes.
are running orphanages and the children aren't registered. So they're not on anyone's books. So no one knows where they are and who they are and who's caring for them. And that unregulated care is pretty scary because sadly, nefarious orphanage owners, and I think there are better and worse orphanages for sure, but some are being used for sexual exploitation. Some are deliberately set up on tourist routes. If you put a heat map of where orphanages are and where tourists go, there's normally a congruence because clever entrepreneurs locally will go, well, you can do safari on Monday and play in an orphanage on Tuesday and visit some local handicraft on a Wednesday, and it becomes an industry. That seems to be true in Cambodia. But between 80 and 90% of the children in orphanages have living parents, and all of them have living extended family.
Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join His mission. This podcast is powered by Within Reach Global. Subscribe, watch, and listen on YouTube today. Visit missionspulse.com.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought. Also, you might want to check out this video here, and honestly, that one's not bad either. Make sure you subscribe to Missions Pulse by clicking the subscribe button right here, and also click that little bell button so you get notified every single time we post a new video.